The alarms blared through the UNS Orion, a deep, pulsing wail that cut the hum of engines and the murmured chatter of the crew. Captain Elias Vance stood at the center of the bridge, his sharp blue eyes scanning the holographic display hovering above the command console. The screen flickered with red markers, unknown contacts, closing fast. "Report," he said, voice steady, betraying none of the tension coiling in his gut. Lieutenant Kara Voss, his tactical officer, didn't look up from her screen. "6 objects, sir. No transponders, no known configuration. They're moving in formation, too precise for debris." Elias exhaled slowly. First contact wasn't supposed to happen like this. Humanity had spent decades sending out probes, listening for signals, dreaming of peaceful encounters. But the things approaching them now moved with purpose, with intent. "Raise shields," he ordered. "Hail them on all frequencies." A moment of silence stretched too long. Then static hissed through the comms before resolving into a voice, if it could be called that. The sound was layered guttural, like something speaking through water and gravel. Asterisk, "Surrender your vessel. You'll be dismantled." Asterisk. Elias exchanged a glance with his first officer, Commander Riya Patel. Her dark eyes were wide, but her voice didn't waver. "They're not here to talk." The Orion wasn't a warship. It was a deep space explorer, armed only with light defensive turrets. But Elias had served in the Earth Defense Fleet before taking this post. He knew how to fight. "Evasive maneuvers," he snapped. "Target the lead ship. Fire at will." The Orion shuddered as its weapons discharged, pulses of plasma streaking toward the alien vessels. The shots connected, but the enemy ships didn't explode, didn't even slow. Their shields flared violet, absorbing the impact effortlessly. Then the aliens returned fire. The first blast rocked the Orion, sending crewmen tumbling. Alarm screamed as the ship's AI barked damage reports. Asterisk hull breach on Deck 3. Oxygen levels dropping. Asterisk. Elias gripped the console, knuckles white. "Get us out of here, now." The engines roared, the Orion lurching into a desperate retreat. But the alien ships matched their speed effortlessly, closing the gap like predators toying with prey. In the chaos, Ensign Marco Ruiz, the youngest officer on the bridge, turned to Elias, face pale. "Captain, they're hurting us." He was right. The aliens weren't trying to destroy them. Not yet. They were pushing the Orion toward gravity well, a dead zone where escape would be impossible. Elias's mind raced. They couldn't outrun them, couldn't outgun them. But maybe... "Voss, reroute all power to the aft thrusters," he said, voice low. "On my mark. We're going to burn hard, straight through them." Patel's head snapped up. "That's suicide. It's our only shot." The crew braced. The aliens fired again, another near miss that sent sparks flying from the consoles. Then, asterisk, "Now!" Asterisk. The Orion surged forward, engine screaming. For a heartbeat, it worked. The aliens scattered, caught off guard. But then one of the alien ships pivoted, its weapons glowing brighter. The blast hit the Orion's engines dead on. The ship went dark. Silence. Then the slow, creeping dread as the alien vessels descended, their hulls blotting out the stars. Elias looked at his crew, Patel, Voss, Ruiz, all waiting for orders he didn't have. The comms crackled again. That same voice, dripping with something almost like amusement. Asterisk, "You fight, but you are weak. Your species will be erased." Asterisk. The transmission cut. The aliens moved in. And Elias Vance, for the first time in his life, knew true fear. But beneath it, anger, a fire that refused to die. If this was how humanity met the galaxy, then the galaxy would learn one thing. Humans didn't go down easy. The UNS Vanguard cut through the void like a blade, its obsidian black hull absorbing starlight rather than reflecting it. Admiral Leora Kessler stood in its cavernous war room, her fingers tracing the edge of a tactical display, where the Orion's last known coordinates pulsed like a fading heartbeat. The ship had gone dark 12 hours ago. No distress signal, no wreckage, just silence. "They're gone," said Commander Jax Hale, his voice stripped of its usual dry humor. His cybernetic eye whirred faintly as it parsed sensor data. No debris pattern suggests containment. The aliens took them whole. Leora didn't flinch. She'd served 30 years. Seen Pyres got colonies and insurgents' glass outposts. But this was different. This wasn't just an attack. It was a message. Then we send one back, she said. The Vanguard wasn't just another ship. It was Earth's answer to a threat they'd feared long before proof arrived. Its railguns could crack a moon. Its AI, Warden, could outthink any human tactician. And its crew, handpicked from the jagged edges of humanity's militaries, had one purpose: fight what couldn't be understood. Across the room, Major Anya Volkova checked her sidearm with methodical precision. The scars along her jawline caught the low light. Intel says these things shield against plasma, so we hit them with kinetics. Old school. Assuming they let us get close, muttered Lieutenant Rin Shirazi, their pilot and resident pessimist. His hands danced over a holographic NAV chart. The Orion never stood a chance. What makes you think we will? Leora turned to the only person who hadn't spoken. Dr. Elias Vance, Captain Elias Vance, now stood apart, his uniform crisp but his eyes hollow. They'd pulled him from the wreckage of a life pod, half frozen, and babbling about monsters in the dark. They toyed with us, he said quietly, like cats with a mouse. Silence pooled in the room. Then, good, Leora said. Every head snapped toward her. Arrogance blinds, she continued, tapping the display. The Orion's last telemetry replayed. Alien ships moving and flawless, contemptuous sync. They think we're weak, so we show them teeth they don't expect. A plan unfolded. Not a stand-up fight, an ambush. The Vanguard would lurk in the radiation belts of Sigma Draconis. Engines cold, emissions scrubbed. Let the aliens come hunting. Hours later, crouched in the dark, Rin exhaled sharply. Contact. 3 bogies. Same configuration as the Orion's logs. Leora leaned forward. Hold. The alien ships glided past, their hulls shimmering with that impossible violet shield tech. Closer. Asterisk. Now. Asterisk. The Vanguard woke in a storm of fire. Railgun rounds tore through the lead alien vessel before its shields could react. Metal screamed in the vacuum as the thing came apart, its siblings veering wildly, stunned. Anya hooped. Shields don't mean shit if you don't turn them on. But Elias was staring at the wreckage. Too easy, he muttered. Then the third alien ship did something no human vessel could. It folded, space twisting around it like wet paper, and reappeared behind the Vanguard. Claxons howled. Incoming! Jax roared. The blast hit like a god's hammer. Lights died. Gravity flickered. Leora grabbed the console as the deck pitched, her ears popping from sudden pressure loss. Report, she barked. Shields at 40%. Jack spat. They're adapting. Outside, the remaining aliens regrouped, their movements no longer arrogant but furious. Learning. Leora bared her teeth. Then we teach them harder. The Vanguard turned, wounded but far from dead, and charged. And for the first time in history, the aliens hesitated. The Vanguard S-Bridge smelled of scorched wiring and adrenaline. Admiral Kessler gripped the command console, her knuckles pale as the ship shuddered under another barrage. The alien vessels had stopped toying with them. Now they fought like they meant to erase humanity from the stars. Shields at 27%. Jax barked, his cybernetic eye flickering with damage reports. They're targeting our engines next. Leora didn't waste breath on curses. Evasive pattern delta. Anya, ready the boarding torpedoes. Anya Volkova's grin was all teeth. Finally, Elias Vance watched the tactical display, his mind racing. The aliens had adapted to their railguns, their shields now deflecting kinetics as easily as they had the Orion S plasma fire. But adaptation required data, required time. They're learning from us, he said suddenly. Not just reacting, asterisk studying, asterisk. Leora's gaze snapped to him. Meaning we stopped giving them a consistent enemy. She needed no further explanation. A silent understanding passed between them. The same ruthless calculus that had kept them alive this long. Run. Leora ordered randomized thrust vectors. No pattern, no predictability. Jack's cycle weapons, railguns, then plasma, then missiles. Keep them guessing. The vanguard became a thing of chaos. It lurched, spun, and fired in staccato bursts, each attack method jarringly different from the last. The alien ships hesitated, their formations tightening as if unnerved by the lack of logic. Anya's torpedo struck home. Magnetic clams bit into alien hulls, and for the first time, humans set foot on enemy decks. What they found there would haunt them. The interior of the alien ship was a nightmare of organic metal, pulsing like a living thing. The air stank of ozone and something sickly sweet. Anya's squad moved in tight formation, their rifles sweeping the twisting corridors. Then the aliens came, not as ships, not as faceless enemies on a view screen, as monsters. They towered over the humans, their elongated limbs moving with eerie precision. Their faces, if they could be called faces, were smooth plains of chitin, featureless save for a single vertical slit where a mouth should have been. They carried no visible weapons. They didn't need to. One raised a hand. The air between it and the nearest Marine warped. Privatchin screamed as his body twisted inward, bones snapping like dry twigs. Anya didn't hesitate. Her rifle barked, rounds punching into the thing's chest. It staggered, then kept coming. "Fall back!" she roared. The Marines retreated, dragging their dead. The aliens didn't pursue. They didn't need to. Back on the vanguard, the mood was funeral. They're telekinetic, Elias said, voice hollow. Or close enough. That's how they move their ships, how they fold space. Leora stared at the feed from Anya's helmet cam, frozen on the image of Chen's corpse. Then we can't fight them hand to hand. Not without a way to neutralize that ability. Jax agreed. Run, usually so quick with a sarcastic remark, was silent. His hands trembled slightly on the controls. Leora made a decision. We run. The word hung in the air. Not retreat, she clarified. We bait them. Lead them into the nebula at Gamma 9. Their sensors won't work in that soup any better than ours. And then, Elias asked. Leora's smile was thin. Then we show them what happens when you back humans into a corner. The vanguard turned, feigning panic, and ran. The aliens followed. And in the dark of the nebula, where sensors were blind and space itself writhed with interference, the vanguard went silent, waiting, hunting. The aliens would learn a new lesson tonight. Humans didn't just fight when cornered. They invented new ways to kill. The nebula swallowed them whole, a swirling tomb of ionized gas that turned the vanguard into a ghost. The alien ships prowled at the edges of sensor range, their predatory patience fraying with each passing minute. Inside the vanguard's war room, the only light came from the dim glow of emergency panels, casting sharp shadows across the faces of the crew. Leora watched the tactical display, her fingers steepled under her chin. They're splitting up, she murmured. Search pattern. Elias exhaled slowly. Good. Divide and conquer. Ren's hands danced across the NAV console, his usual sarcasm replaced by grim focus. We've got one drifting into optimal range. Engine still cold. Cold as the void, Jax confirmed, his cybernetic eye flickering as it parsed sensor ghosts. But the second we power up, they'll see us. Anya leaned forward, her scars pulling tight as she grinned. So we don't power up. The plan was insanity. That's why it might work. The Vanguard had one advantage left: gravity. Sigma Draconis Nebula wasn't just sense-blind. It was littered with micro-singularities, remnants of dead stars. Tiny, vicious things that warped space around them. And the Vanguard had a gravity spike. Warm it up, Leora ordered. Deep in the ship's belly, the spike hummed to life, its field reaching out like an invisible hand. The nearest alien ship drifted closer, unsuspecting. Then space twisted. The alien vessel lurched as if yanked by a cosmic leash, its sleek hull groaning under forces it wasn't designed to withstand. Its shields flared violet. But gravity wasn't an energy weapon. It was physics, pure and inexorable. Now, Leora said. The Vanguard, that's railguns fired. At this range, even the aliens couldn't dodge. The rounds punched through their hull, shredding metal and whatever passed for flesh inside. The ship came apart in a silent bloom of debris. Anya whooped. One down. But the others were already reacting. The remaining 2 alien ships wheeled toward the disturbance, their movement sharp with newfound caution. Too slow, Elias muttered. He was right. They were hesitating, second-guessing. Humans had a word for that. Fear. Leora bared her teeth. Again. The Vanguard moved like a specter, striking from a nebulous depths before vanishing again. Each attack was brutal, efficient. The second alien ship died screaming into the void, its hull split open like a rotten fruit. The last one tried to flee. Ren laughed, wild and bright. Oh, no, you don't. The Vanguard surged forward, engines howling. The alien ship folded space, but this time the Vanguard was ready. Jax had rigged a feedback pulse into their sensors, a crude but effective way to disrupt the aliens' telekinetic drive. The fold stuttered. The alien ship reappeared half a kilometer off target, its hull shuddering. Finish it, Leora said. The Vanguard, S final volley tore the last enemy apart. Silence settled over the bridge, thick and disbelieving. They'd done it, against impossible odds, against a foe that had considered them insects. They'd won. But Elias was staring at the wreckage, his face unreadable. This was a scouting party, he said softly. Nothing more. The weight of his words crushed the celebration. Leora nodded. Then we sent a message of our own. She opened a channel, wideband, unencrypted. Let the galaxy hear. This is Admiral Leora Kessler of the UNS Vanguard. You came to our home. You thought we were weak. She paused, letting the silence stretch. You were wrong. The transmission ended. Somewhere in the dark, the aliens would hear it, and they would understand. The war wasn't over. It had just begun. The Vanguard turned its nose toward Earth, its crew already planning. Because humanity had one truth these aliens had yet to learn. They always fought back.